So I don't know if Nathan called you. It's like one of the first times he's ever called me outside of like texting, and he was crying and sort of talking about how everyone wants to cancel him. And I don't know, did he reach out to you, Mike?
I just don't pick up. He called a couple times.
You don't answer.
I talked to him one time. I just don't believe anything he's saying for the most part. I think he's creating this drama himself. I think he likes the attention. I think he likes the drama, and I'm not going to play around with him.
It's not really worth it. It's not my place to tell him that he's being insane, but it's just Reddit. It's not like he's getting kicked off the internet. It's just some fucking stupid ass thing. He talked about raping Huey Lewis, and then he wonders why he's kicked off of Reddit. Well, you can't talk about raping Huey Lewis on there.
I'm not going to side with the Reddit people because I disagree with them. I think most of them are obviously sexual cowards. I think that last time I talked to him, he told me that he's looking into it, questioning why he was canceled to see if he can make a case for himself. And I'm just...
hey, guys, sorry.
Oh, hey, what's up, Nate?
Sorry I'm late. Man, nothing, whatever. So we're going to do this?
I guess say what happened.
What's that?
Just say what happened so that if anyone listens to this, they'll know what's going on.
Okay. I don't know. I pour my heart into this work that I do. I spent, I don't know how many hours. I wrote an entire, fantasy erotica book, posted it on this Reddit community. I've been providing tons, just pouring hours and hours of my soul into this podcast. From what I know of, the only erotica podcast out there, only to get my account banned by some fucking lowlife moderator on the r/erotica Reddit thread, just fucked my head up,
How did it make you feel?
Like I'm 2 inches tall. I didn't want to get up this morning, Mike. That was the first time that happened to me.
You didn't want to get up, so you can't even
want to get out of bed.
You're completely banned?
I can't post. I have no creative outlet anymore.
Look, you have a kid. You can't be letting this do this to you. I understand that you feel attacked, but I mean, do you think it was because that you started talking about raping Huey Lewis?
I just want to clear something up real quick. All right. There's a lot of talk about me fantasizing about raping Huey Lewis, but I just want to get the record straight. In that fantasy, it was all consensual. Okay.
It's a fan.
He was down.
Nathan, it's a fantasy. It's a dream. It's not real. It's not real life. It can't hurt you. You're not really going to do that to Huey Lewis. It's just like dreams and fantasies, they're not real. So, that's what I don't want to get into politics or anything, but that's what they want to stop you from being able to do and from sharing with other people as your dreams and fantasies. You know what I mean?
Oh, God. It just seems like too much. Just can't win.
Okay, well, do you need anything from us? I see you suffering.
No, I just want to do this. I want to get
Is there
back
anything
on
you
the
want to
horse
say
here.
to the Reddit people that...
You just made a very powerful enemy. That's all I'll say.
Welcome to the Fantasy Cast podcast, where three grown men pass the time by telling each other their deepest and darkest fantasies. Here we go.
So I gave you guys 2 prompts. One of them was this: picture it. You're a plumber. You have a client. It kind of has chaotic energy. They just happen to be a female and they're married. And they seem abusive and they're far right wing for sure. You see them belittling their husband, her husband, and her kids. One day you show up and you realize that they're divorced now. She is no longer in a marriage with her husband and her kid. You also notice that she keeps finding excuses to bring you there. One day you show up there and there's just an apple shoved, like a mashed up apple shoved in the sink. And you're like, oh, I guess it's an apple. I think I found the problem. She keeps doing this and you just know something's going to go down. That's my prompt. Where do you guys take it?
I got something for this. I'm in some shitwater town somewhere in the Louisiana bayou, far away from anybody. Just a place where people go to, rot away.
What are the summers like there?
Balmy. Thick, sticky. Reason I'm there, though, is I'm fleeing. Let's just say I had some run-ins with some syndicate-type people back east. I serviced the wrong guy's wife in a plumbing job, if you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, out here, laying low. It's been about a year. Money's starting to run out. I'm going to have to start doing plumbing again to make ends meet. No real relationships to speak of. A couple of flings here and there. Go into town. It's shitty town. It constantly smells like the bayou. It smells like sulfur. It smells like just rotting wood. Go into the local watering hole. Bartender, give me a whiskey. Straight up. Leave the bottle. By the way, you got any plumbing work you need done? Place like this, shithole like this, you probably have some backed up sinks. I can smell something already. Bartender says, well, you know you're not from around here, are you? Seems we hadn't had a plumber around here in about 10, 15 years. Ain't another plumber around here for miles. I would love for you to take a look at my bathtub. It's all blocked up. Say, you got a bathtub in a bar? He says to me, I most certainly do. And so I say, yeah, I'll take a look at that bathtub. Look across the bar, see this absolutely gorgeous woman, just getting shit-faced. The only reason a beautiful woman like that, drinks like that, she's got problems with her love life. So she walks over to me. She says, I overheard that you're a plumber. I say, yeah, I'm a plumber. What's it to you? She says, I got a job for you. Come by my house after you're done drinking. All right. Which one is your house? Oh, it's the biggest one at the top of the hill. You'll recognize it. I say, okay. It's a date. So, bartender, what's up with this plumbing job? Where's this bathtub? It's all around back. I'll take you back there myself. I'm like, I work alone. Go back to the bathtub. About 15 minutes. I work fast. I work with my hands. 15 minutes, I come back with a bunch of packages of string cheese. It's like, this is what was stuck in your bathtub. And the bartender's like, oh man, I knew it. I just knew it. There was a guy in here a couple times. Rumor is he's got no penis, but he's got some absolutely sparkling silvery fingers. And the ladies around here say that he can finger blast like no one else. He was running around here and he had a face paint like a kitty cat. I was like, oh yeah, kitty cat, huh? He's like, that's right. He must have been the one to put that string cheese down the drain. I was like, enough about that. What's the deal with that girl that was here before? She married? He's like, oh, she used to be married and her husband is a lot of trouble. Let's just say he's a very powerful man with a real big secret. I was like, yeah, sounds like it's none of my business. Take it easy, bartender. Barkeep. I throw him a 20 and I get in my pickup truck, my work truck, and I drive up the hill to this woman's house. She opens the door. She's wearing spandex and a zip-up, like a really tight zip-up jacket that goes down to her midriff. She says, oh, thanks for coming over. Big, beautiful house. Gorgeous. It was probably like an old plantation house or something. Just absolutely stunning. Old piping infrastructure probably gets clogged up all the time. She brings me over to her downstairs bathroom. She says, I lost my wedding ring in here. I was like, wedding ring, huh? She's like, well, my old wedding ring. I'm divorced now. Couldn't live with my husband. Let's just say that he's a despicable man, but he did one thing really, really well. I was like, what's that? And she says, I don't need to tell you. That's my little secret. So I get to working on her pipe and I unscrew it and I figure out what's going on. And she's talking to me. She's asking me questions about what I like, where I'm from. Now, mind you, I haven't talked to anybody in a while. I've been lying low. And normally it gets on my nerves when somebody is chatting me up while I'm trying to work, but there's something about her. I kind of liked it. She took an interest in me and she made me feel comfortable, and we started going back and forth. Turns out we had a lot in common. But I wasn't about to get mixed up with her. She has extremely chaotic energy. Her house was filled with all sorts of old right-wing knickknacks. She had some old Nazi paraphernalia, a whole bunch of Bush Cheney stuff that was just really rubbed me the wrong way. So I was like, all right, you know what? I found your ring. Here it is. I'm going to bid you adieu. Thank you so much for your business. Head home, hit the pillow, go to sleep. Wake up the next morning, get a call on my phone. It's a local brothel. I'm like, man, this town's got a bar, a brothel, and that's it. Maybe a couple rundown shacks. So I go over to the brothel. I talk to the madam. I'm like, yeah, what can I help you with? She's like, oh, the upstairs bathtub is clogged up. I'm like, you got a bathtub in a brothel? She's like, yeah, of course I have a bathtub in a brothel. So I'm like, okay. Go, I fix it. Look down there, whole bunch of string cheese wrappers. I'm like, son of a bitch. Bring the string cheese wrappers downstairs to the madam. I'm like, here's your problem, string cheese wrappers. And she's like, God, I knew it. There's this guy that's been coming here. There's this little kitty cat makeup. No dick, but the girls love him because he's a 10 out of 10 finger blaster. They said he has silver fingers. It's like, silver fingers? In my head, I'm thinking like, man, this guy's giving me all sorts of business out here with this string cheese wrapper thing. Like, I kind of hope that he keeps doing what he's doing. So I say, okay, well, that's here, fix your problem. I'm gonna head back to my little teeny tiny apartment alone. She's like, all right, take it easy. Get home, see that I have a voicemail. It's the woman in the nice house. She says, guess what? I lost my ring again. Now I'm no fool. I know what's going on here. I know the angle, right? So I get in the truck. I head over. I go to her house. I say, she says this time it's somewhere in the basement bathroom, right? So I go down there and she's wearing a really soft, like fake fur shorts that go up to her just below her ass. And a tube top with sequins on it. Drop dead. Beautiful. Looks gorgeous. Beautiful outfit. She walks me down there. Same thing as before. I'm working on her sink. She's chatting me up and she's asking me like, what are my passions in life? Like, what are my goals? Where do I see myself? She's really trying to connect with me. And I pull my hand out. I give her ring. I say, ma'am, I know what you're trying to do. I'm very flattered. I would love to connect with you, but your energy is just too chaotic. Here's your ring. I bid you adieu. Go home, fall asleep, wake up the next morning to a voicemail. Guess who it is? It's this woman. My upstairs bathroom is clogged. Okay, well, I see this isn't gonna end until I put a stop to it. So hop in my work van, go over to the mansion, go upstairs. This time she's wearing a really tight t-shirt that looks like a bunch of newspapers, and she's wearing basically underwear. It's like technically it's shorts, but it looks like underwear. We go upstairs. She says, you know what? I'm gonna let you work. I'm just gonna go get changed real quick. So I start working on the bathtub. She goes out, she comes back, she's wearing basically just like a cloth that's held up with a little tiny rope around her neck. And she comes in, I say, I figured out what's wrong with your bathtub. And as soon as I turn around, she pulls the string and her cloth falls away. It gets stuck for a second on the curve of her hips and then falls to the floor and she's completely naked. She walks up to me. She pushes me back against the wall. She undoes my belt buckle, pulls down my pants, and sees that I have no dick. I pull my hand out from behind me. My fingers are silver. And in my other hand, I've got a bunch of string cheese wrappers. And she looks up at me, and her eyes glaze over. She says, finally, I'm free. And And I'll let you guys just figure out what happens from there. That's the end of my fantasy. That's where my fantasy ends and the listeners begins.
I love that two things. I love that the town hasn't had a plumber in 15 years.
It's really down and out.
I was hoping you would say that it's as hot as molasses.
Yeah.
I was trying to set you up for that.
Yeah. Well, it all used to be cornbread country until they dammed up the river.
Oh, shit.
And all the cornbread that they used to make there moved across the border.
That's that cornbread speaking. Cornbread man's in town. Lord, it's hot. The sweat sticks to your skin like molasses and cornbread. Rub an ice cube with a little bit of cornbread up and down my belly up to my neck. Tell me it isn't sensual in nature. That's cornbread. That's all that is.
Weren't you were saying cornbread for a couple months ago, weren't you, Mike?
Yeah, Aaron made cornbread. And every time I would say it, I'd be able to summon that character.
Yeah.
It's a great character.
Southern.
That's how I picture the bartender in my fantasy. It's more like what you just did there.
Yeah.
You know,
you called him a barkeep. I like that.
Yeah. John, what do you have?
Okay, so I get a call from this lady's husband saying that there's some flooding in their basement. So I go out there. I take a look at everything. I let him know. I say, you guys are using wet wipes, aren't you? And he's like, yeah, my wife. That's the only thing my wife uses. And I was like, well, they're getting clogged, and you're getting like a backup down here. And he's like, okay. He's like, can you get it out? And I was like, yeah. So I get everything out. His wife is there, making small talk with me. She's got really gorgeous legs. It's like she's really showing them off. But her body's just an absolute piece of shit. I mean, everything above the waist is just really kind of fucked up. So she's wearing like Daisy Dukes. She keeps bending over in front of me. I come upstairs to sign paperwork, and she's clearly been farting. Like, it just kind of smells like farts up there. So they pay me, I leave. A week later, the lady calls and says we're having problems again. So I was like, well, I can get out there in about an hour. So I come over there. And I said, is your husband around? And she's like, no, he actually left. And I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. I was like, do you know when he's going to be back? And she's like, he's not coming back. And I was like, oh, okay. So I go downstairs, check the basement again. There's even more flooding, and there's just wet wipes just floating like on the surface of the water. It's covered in shit. Smells like piss down there. So I go upstairs. I tell her, I was like, I think I need to take out the toilet. I was like, is that gonna be a problem? She's like, that's fine. Like, how long will it be? And I was like, it'll be a couple hours. I was like, so if you need to use the toilet, you better use it now. And she's like, all right. So she takes like a 40-minute shit. I'm just sitting at her kitchen table. I'm reading a magazine.
What magazine?
It's like a Vogue, it's like really old issue of Vogue. So I go in there, take out the toilet. She was like, "What do you think of that?" And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "What I did in there." And I was like, "You mean the shit?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "I don't know." And she's like, "You like big shits, right? You're a plumber. You must love these big shits." I'm just like, I'm like, "Yeah, it's not really about that for me. It's, I'm in a union. I make good money. It's not really about the shit. It's a job for me." And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you'd like it." I was like, "No, it's cool. It's cool." And then I'm like, "Do you mind if I ask what you've been eating?" And she's like, I ate breakfast today. And I was like, "Did you eat like a really big breakfast?" She's like, "Not really. It's pretty normal." And I was like, "What was it?" And she's like, "Bacon, eggs, sausage, English muffins, and then I topped everything with hollandaise sauce." And I'm like, "Okay." I was like, because I could smell that when I could smell the hollandaise sauce when I came in. It's like a pretty strong smell throughout the house. She kind of giggles. She's embarrassed. She leans in to kiss me, and I just kind of recoil, and I'm like, "Sorry, I'm not. I don't want to do this yet." And she's like, "Well, why not?" And I was like, "'Cause I've seen too much." And I was like, "I honestly don't think if we started up something that you would be around much longer." I was like, "I think you need to get your health in check. You need to call a doctor. You need to get a colonoscopy immediately." I was like, there's blood down there. There's blood in your shit. So I leave. She calls 3 weeks later, and she's like, "Hey, just wanted to, call you and let you know that I did go to a doctor, and you were right. It was early. It was cancer." It's colon cancer, but they caught it early thanks to you. And I was like, "Really?" And she's like, "Yeah." She's like, why don't you come over here and I'll cook you something to eat." I'm like, "All right." So I come over there. The door's kind of cracked open. So I just walk inside. She's on the couch, wearing lingerie, asses up in the air, and she's fingering herself. And she says, "Come on in, grab yourself a plate." And I'm like, "Oh, damn." So I just start munching. I go down there and start munching. We fuck, we do everything. End of fantasy.
That's cool.
I saved her life.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
That's really powerful.
You were cool throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
I really like how, it's your fantasy, wildest imagination. You could be with anybody you want. And the woman that you construct in this fantasy is like unattractive.
Is a 2.5. This woman in my head, this woman looks like a 220-pound Brett Butler.
You say Brett player? Butler?
No, like Grace Under Fire.
Dude, I was just thinking about Brett Butler. Like while you were telling that story. Just on my mind. That was really cool.
Yeah, it was powerful.
Thanks.
Even though I thought of this concept, I haven't given it too much thought. I got a couple things. Let's just see where it goes. Okay, this woman keeps calling me up for these stupid jobs, and I go to them. Eventually gets to the point where I know She's gonna call me again. She's not listening to a word I say about stuffing apples in the sink. She's just not listening. She's just wearing more and more revealing, sexy clothes, which I don't mind. I'm just looking at it like nothing's gonna happen. You know what I mean? This is just someone playing games. But it happens so much. It's like the next time I know it's like John said, like, it's game on. Someone said that at some point. Something's gotta happen. She says, my sink in the garage is messed up. Can you come by? Calling me at 9 p.m. And I'm like, yeah, sure, okay. She's like, okay, I'll see you at 10 a.m. And I'm like, yeah, I'll see you. Bye. It's like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, I'll see you at 10. I hang up. I then get really drunk. Super, super drunk. Not super drunk. Drunk enough so that I know I'll be hungover enough to just be at ease the next day. So I show up at 10 a.m. Didn't really shower. I'm just like unsettled. I keep making noises like with my mouth and stuff. Like when I walk in there and I'm unloading my bag and I'm like, damn. Like I'm distracted. I keep like taking stuff out of the bag and like putting it in one place, but I'm like hungover, so I keep forgetting that I need other stuff. I'm like, damn, tired of this. You know what I mean? Kind of complaining. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I start working on stuff, start clanging on the sink. I don't even look at what's in there because I know it's just gonna be more stupid shit that she mashed in there. So I just start clanging away on the sink, just breaking shit. Ton of, you know what I mean, swearing and stuff, and just like sighing heavily. I'm sweating profusely, and like a classic plumber, my ass crack is hanging out. I'm like, I'm taking a break. I've been working like 5 minutes. I go upstairs, and she's startled. She was just looking at her phone. I'm assuming she was texting one of her friends saying that I was in the house, bragging about it or something, because she's divorced. She's like, is it fixed or whatever? Oh, and she's crazy. She's like, so are you done or what? You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm thirsty. I want some lemonade. She's like, what? I said, I want some fucking lemonade. Do you have any? And I go to the kitchen. I immediately start pulling stuff out. I'm like, this isn't a lemon. This isn't lemonade. I'm like throwing stuff at the wall, like over my shoulder. You know what I mean? And she's like, you're being a complete asshole. I'm like, you're being a fucking idiot. Why am I here? You know what I mean? And I go back in there and I'm like, oh, we have grapefruit juice. I'll make some grapefruit lemonade. And I pull out a blender. I was like, where's the fucking blender? I'm just throwing my weight around hardcore.
Yeah.
Psycho style. Like I've already moved in. And she's like, I don't think I like your attitude. And I'm like, what are you gonna do about it? You know what I mean? I keep challenging her at every turn because I don't think she's gonna do anything. She takes off her shoe. She's wearing high heels and a skinny black dress for no reason, and like a ton of makeup, like Instagram person style. Like it's like they look like a doll. Mm-hmm. She throws it at me and it hits the back of my head. And I'm like, did you just fucking throw that at me? And I look at it and there's a little bit of blood. And I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm like really angry. And I run my fist through a window. And my hand starts bleeding. I'm like, look what you fucking did to me. You know what I mean? Look what you did to my hand. She's like, oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm like, you're sorry. She's like running cold water on it. I'm surprised this water still runs. I'm sure you didn't shove a bunch of shit up there. And she's like, I'm sorry, I know, I'm bad. I'm like, yeah, you are bad. And we look at each other for a second, catch each other's eyes for a second. We both start smiling. Then I move in for a kiss, and I plant one right on her lips, right on those two kisser lips. She's like, what are you doing? Laughing? She puts her hand on her chest. What are you doing? I'm like, you know what I'm doing. This is what you wanted the entire time. She exhales, just like, okay, meet me upstairs. And I go, okay. Get ready. And then I go downstairs and I'm like calm all of a sudden. I've also stole some of her alcohol. I'm just drinking out of the bottle. And I'm downstairs and I fix up the sink. I put all my stuff away very carefully. I clean up my hand and put in bandages. I shave in the bathroom with her husband's razor blades. I go upstairs and I knock on her door gently. Can I come in? I ask. And she said, before she can even say yes, I just bust in. And she's spread eagle, wearing like crotchless red lingerie, and she's like, are you ready? She's so nice now. You know what I mean? She's being so nice. I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. I gotta get going. And I slam the door and I walk out. And I go home. And I wait, literally, I set a timer, and it turns out to be about 15 hours before she calls me. And she's like, ha, 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 very funny. I start a conversation with her. You know what I mean? We start talking. I start telling her all my ideas about how the world is messed up and how it's like guys like me can't get ahead and there's like a new world order and all this stuff. You know what I mean? I'm just going on and on and on about it. She's just listening to me. I was like, it feels good to be listened to again. You know, I was married once and I'm divorced now. A lot like you are. And going and relating to her in that way. She's like, yeah, it's rough. And I was like, so call me next time your sink's broken. And she's like, all right, I will. One of these days. Hangs up. Seems like it's going to be forever. But I jump into my truck and just start careening down the road, speeding to her house. And I start just pounding on the door. It's about 11 p.m., pretty late for someone. Pounding on the door. I hear a kid crying. She opens up the door. She's like, what are you doing here? What? You know, she's confused. Her kid is there, and I kick the door down. They're both terrified. They're really scared. You know what I mean? They're screaming at me. What are you doing? What is this? You know what I mean? I grab the kid's arm. And I tell him, go to your room and you don't come out until I tell you to come out. You know what I mean? I scare the living shit out of him. I'm not fucking with you. You don't know who I am. I'm crazy. I'll kill your mama right here. The kid runs upstairs, and the mother has gone to the kitchen. She's got a knife. She's like, "Don't you touch my kid! Don't you come at me!" And I run up to her, and I grab the knife, and I put it right up against my throat. We're having a showdown. You know what I mean? And it's just like a shot of our faces panting, and then it zooms out, and you can see that I have my hand like in her, straight up in her at this point, and she is giving me a hand job at the same time. Okay, I grab the knife, throw it away. I lift her up. She's wearing jeans that are unbuttoned already. I just rip those things straight down. It leaves red marks. I lift her up. She's just wearing a tank top now. Onto the sink. And I just grab the faucet head behind her and I just rip it off. You know what I mean? Water just spraying to the ceiling now. Okay, and so we're having she's like digging her nails into the back of my head. She's like, you son of a, you know, it's a weird, lustful, painful, psychotic thing. She's like, you son of a bitch. I was like, your kid's gonna be fine. You just shut the fuck up and do what you're told. Right after I say that, I've penetrated. You know what I mean? And it's an instantaneous penetration, so it's like super duper intense because she's also exploding with a fluid down there, and we're soaked in water. and my ass is just totally out now. We're doing it like that for a while, and her butt's getting sore. I turn around while I'm still lifting her up, and I kick over the table, and it just basically shatters into a million splinters. Like I destroy the table. That's how strong I am. I have pretty beefy thighs in this fantasy. And we start doing it on the floor, which has like a gross carpet on it with like food all over it, and that's getting all soaked up. And I'm doing missionary. I'm on top, and I'm really going for it. There's water spraying into our asshole. She's choking me and flips me over. And then she says, this is something I learned in Iraq. She's basically waterboarding me with her pussy. I can't breathe. Like I almost pass out a couple times, but my dick's still hard. And I'm jerking off, and like I'm getting raw as fuck right now. Okay, so she's sitting on my face, and I start fingering her asshole. And I grab a plunger, and I'm blowing the plunger, and I'm kind of like teasing it into her asshole to like get it ready to go. Okay, she stands up and rips 2 cabinet doors off, and just all the cereal falls out. So now we're like wet and covered in cereal. And she points to her back, and she's like, let's do this. You plumber son of a bitch. She's like swearing at me and shit, and calling me like all these nasty you little fucking asshole, you piece of shit, bust in my house. You know, like a lot of like possessed crazy screaming like that. We end up having anal sex at that point. Slowly ease into it. Grabbing her neck from behind. She's pulling my head. I twirl her hair around my head, and we're like, you fuck you. You know what I mean? Like really demented and sick. How does this wrap? How do I bring it home? Oh, she turns around, and then we're still having anal sex while she's looking at me with her butt like on the counter. You know what I mean? Tank top is ripped open, and I'm like, I'm about to bust. So I turn around, and I'm like, I'm about to bust. I keep saying I'm about to bust, and she's like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? And I say, you know what I mean? She starts laughing. It's like kind of funny. I'm like, I don't know. This is so crazy. You know what I mean? I don't say that, but this is also crazy to me. And so I just tell her to turn the garbage disposal on, and I just shoot in the garbage disposal while it's like going off, and I'm like shoving like silverware and like wooden spoons and spatulas down there at the same time. That's it. That's the end of my fantasy.
Nice.
Thanks.
First of all, observation. What I really liked is that how you just the relationship immediately started in a like full blown abusive relationship.
It's a fantasy. It's not real life. You know, you can. It's not real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not a plumber. It's never gonna.
No, I get that. What I'm saying is I thought it was cool and interesting and fun that in your fantasy you skipped everything that would lead up to the abusive relationship.
Yeah.
Just entered into it.
That's a fantasy of mine, is being, I fantasize a lot about possibly being abusive or, you know what I mean? Like, geez, am I like really crazy? You know? Probably not. So it is something I fantasize about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I also want to know, after all that intensity, you know, what was it like after you bust? Like, what's the vibe in the room?
I think I'm like, it's like a bomb went off, and then you start sobering up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of shame involved, but you both know that it's like the beginning of the dance.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the dance.
Yeah.
So
that's where the beauty is for me.
Yeah, it's thrilling. It's not just getting the nut. It's
right.
The dance around it, before it and after it too. Whoa, guys, can you wait up a second? I've just been thinking a lot about coffee lately, just how it makes me so jittery and anxious. Aren't there any other coffee alternatives out there? Not like Fig Brew. Fig Brew is an instant herbal, and it has teas that don't cut it for true coffee drinkers. Fig Brew brews using the same equipment. You can even add it to your favorite coffee to offset the acid, caffeine, or blood pressure spike. Other coffee alternatives suggest that you need to change your routine and learn how to adjust your rituals and refreshment expectations to a clumsy mix or preparation process. Our message at Fig Brew is just the opposite. We found the perfect cup of coffee that happens to not actually have any coffee in it. Don't try to change your routine, enhance it. Try Fig Brew today. And Fig Brew they got Mellow Mix, Fig E, Fig Brew Functionals, single serve K cups. These guys really have everything. And I bring this to the office every day. People are like, wait, what the hell? Is that even coffee? No, it is not coffee, because I'm sick of the anxiety. I'm sick of all the pressure, the high blood pressure, and all of the bad things. With Fig Brew, it's a coffee alternative. Finally, the coffee alternative for coffee lovers. Finally, a healthy coffee alternative that tastes, looks, and brews like coffee. Check it out at figbrew.com. The second fantasy. Ooh, this is a good one, I think. I tossed it to you guys. I said, you have you are a stud of some sort. You've had sex, but you have a friend who's a loser who's never had sex. What would you do for your friend? This is the prompt, the starting off point.
You want to hit it first, John?
Sure. All right, so I'm like, my age now, I'm like 40, buff, I'm single. I just go out and fuck all the time. Just always at a club. I'm in really, really good shape. You know, like, I train well. I've got a really good job. This kid works at the office with me. He's scrawny. He's fun. He's kind of a funny guy. Everyone likes him. He tells me in confidence that he's, you know, a virgin. He's like early 30s. Too late to be a virgin, you know, like there's something wrong here. So I tell him, I was like, I'm gonna get you on my program. So we start, I get him in the gym. We work on his body, full body workouts for like 3 months. We go out to clubs, you know, get him around people, find out what he wants, like physically in a woman. And we start kind of like looking around the office for, you know, his type. I take him shopping. I spend probably like $30,000 on this kid's like a new wardrobe. Get his hair done, like frosted tips, all that shit. I teach him how to eat pussy. Like, I have him hold up his hand and make like a little pussy with his hand. Yeah, and I just show him. Just how to lick it. I take him to a club. He's ready to like try everything that he's learned. And he goes up to this girl. He starts talking to her, and she's clearly into him. And I pull him away. I'm just like, you don't. Not her. I was like, that's not. You don't want that. Trust me. And he's like, no, I really do. She's really sweet. She seems really fun. She's like, I think I might be able to date her, you know? I'm just like, don't, no, tonight is not the night. So the next day, he texts me and he's like, I really wish you would have let me pursue that. And I was like, it's, don't worry about it. You don't need that. And I was like, why don't you come over? So he comes over, and I have my projectors. I'm projecting something on the wall. He sits down on the couch. I turn it on, and it's me butt fucking that girl, just going to town on it, you know. And he's like, why would you do this to me? And I was like, well, this is your first lesson, you know. This is your first lesson. And he's like, he's really upset. Kind of stops talking to me, you know, at work. And a couple months later, I tell him that I don't want him to be like me, you know, like, I don't want this for you. I want you to find a good woman. And he's just like, still kind of upset. I go over to his house. He lives with his mom. And, you know, I start to talk to his mom. We get kind of close. And eventually I start fucking her. I really don't have anything else. I kept thinking maybe I'd fuck the mom. I was thinking of the Steve Carell movie with Ryan Gosling. You know what I'm talking about?
What's that?
He just teaches Steve Carell how to pick up women.
Wait, Steve Carell and Ryan Gosling?
And Steve Carell, yes, and Steve Carell's like, you know, 58 in the movie. It's
what is the movie?
Awful. I gotta find it for you.
That sounds weird. I was thinking of Hitch.
Does he?
Similar to Hitch.
Does he fuck his mom? Was it Steve Carell's mom?
No, Steve Carell. No, he doesn't. No.
Is Carell the stud?
No, Ryan Gosling's the stud.
Okay.
Teaching this loser how to get back on his feet.
Oh.
God, that sounds
Yeah.
horrible.
I really want to watch
bad.
that.
Who is it for?
It's apparently me.
Oh, right. You did watch it.
Yeah, I've seen it a few times, I think.
Okay, well, there we go.
So I'll go unless you want to go, Mike.
I got nothing. Let me go.
All right.
Let me go.
right.
Let me go. Okay. So, yeah, I'm a stud. Let's say what I'm shooting for. I'm about, I'm like 30 years old. And, my friend, 25 years old, works at the office with me. I got him a job there. He's from the small town we were both from. I escaped the small town. I moved to the city. I get the job. I bring him there. He's like, wow, you're really living a great life. You're like my older bro. By the way, I killed his older brother by drunk driving, and he died. So I feel responsible for him. I'm like, yeah, man, we do everything in the city. We do whatever we want here. I'm already masturbating in front of him. He's like, whoa. I'm like, what? I invited you over to my apartment. This is what big city. He's like, whoa, this is too. I haven't even had sex yet. I don't even know what I'm even looking at. I was like, oh, well, when you're in the big city and you're a little bit older, you'll find that like really successful people, they just kind of. They do whatever with anyone, anywhere, because they've had so much sex. And he's like, I've never even had sex before. I spit out my drink all over him, on his face, and it's just dribbling down on his shirt. I'm like, oh, we got your shirt. It's a little messed up, isn't it? And I unbutton his shirt, and he's like, yeah, I've never had sex. He starts crying. I've taken on this serious nurturing role. It's okay. And I give him a hand job and he comes. I'm like, that doesn't count as sex, but tomorrow I'm gonna change your life. He goes to sleep. Falls on the mattress, falls asleep. When he wakes up, he's on a yacht. And it's filled with Eastern European models. And I'm like, not bad, huh? You can have any one of these. He's like, what do you mean have? And who are these other guys here? And I'm like, you can have any of them. And I'm like, oh, this is my friend Steve Hammer. And I was like, oh, this is his brother Army Hammer. And I was like, they're cannibals. And when I say have, we're gonna fucking eat all these women on this boat. He's like, eat? And I was like, yeah, when you get to be, I'm like, oh yeah. And I was like, Steve, Army, excuse me, I'm taking my friend back to the city to begin from square one. I take him to a club and I'm so bored. I have the worst attitude. He's dancing. He's like having a great time. And I told him all of these pickup artist games to play, where you impress them and you wear stupid clothes and you're a really nice, approachable guy. And psychologically, you basically trick someone into having sex with you. He gets pretty far. It's a master class. I'm really good at it because it's like nothing to me at this point. I was like, here's the keys to my place. You can take her back there. This is me in the VIP room, and I'm just cutting myself, cutting my chest with a razor blade, because it's just thrilling to me in front of people, and they're cheering and excited. It's just like another thing he's like unfamiliar with. I'm like, yeah, we just do this all the time. It doesn't hurt. Who cares? Here's the keys. Go back to my place. He goes back to my place. Obviously, I'm already there, hiding in a closet. He's like about to get married to this woman, it seems. He's like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I've also taught him how to have sex. Like I showed him videos and stuff and told him that's gonna be okay. He's like, I've never done this before. And I literally say from the closet, I'm like, don't worry about it. He's like, what? You're in this room? Are you in the closet? He says. I mean, I obviously am. And I said, yeah, just keep going. And the woman's like, yeah, just keep going. Don't worry about it. I know him. We do this all the time. He's like, you do this all the time? Yeah, I get out of the closet and I'm behind him and I guide him into the woman. She's like, oh. I'm like, yeah, see, she likes that. I'm over her shoulder. I'm like, yeah, she likes that, doesn't she? And she's see, she likes it. And I start helping out down there. I'm grabbing his balls and like rubbing her clit, like while they're having sex. They're both having a great time. I'm guiding them through it. I'm like a sexual doula, and I'm like, control your breathing, control your breathing, control your breathing. And I'm like, to each one, I'm like, look here, look here, look here, look here, look here. You know what I mean? And all this is happening. I'm actually penetrating like back and forth between both of their assholes. I'm actually having sex with both of them at the same time. I'm just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth while they're going normal. And I'm like, don't come. No, neither one of you come. You know what I mean? I'm being a real control freak about it. And then we all come simultaneously, and we all lay down together, and we're all panting, and we all admit that that's like actually the first time we've ever cummed before. Like we've come before, but like when they talk about it like in movies and books and stuff, it's like, oh, this is what it's really like. That's the end of it.
That's beautiful.
There's been a lot of anal tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, there has been.
That is weird, isn't it?
It's just cool, you know.
It's great.
You ready, Nathan?
Yeah. Me and my best friend, we were roommates at Harvard. We both move out to Silicon Valley to try to make it, you know, the tech gold rush. I'm on the business end. He's on the tech end. He's like real nerd, real brain king type guy. Me, I live fast and loose, don't really play by the rules. What it finds, it keeps. And a hallmark of our relationship back in Harvard is he would be up late studying and, you know, working on coding and stuff like that. And I would bring women home and have sex with them right next to his head while he laid there in his bed trying to sleep. So it was a real problem trying to loosen this kid up. He just was really focused on his schoolwork, and he didn't really have time for his love life. So I made it a personal mission of mine to make sure that he gets laid, right? So we're sitting by the beach. He's sitting on a park bench, and I'm shooting free throws at a basketball court, like dribbling around, and just like, and I'm like, man, what are you doing, man? Look, you're never gonna get laid the way you're working right now, man. You gotta really loosen up. I taught you everything I know. I taught you how to talk to women, how to wine them, how to dine them, how to play them compliment, rub their feet, how to whisper sweet nothings into their ear, how to pay their bills, pay their rent, pay their car note, you know, how to drop $200, $300, $400 in cash right on the table of their kitchen and then walk out. I taught you all the moves. You're still a virgin? You're still a virgin, aren't you? He's like, yeah, I'm sorry, Daddy. He calls me Daddy. He's like, I'm sorry, Daddy. I'm like, it's okay, don't worry about it. Listen, we're gonna find a way to get you real loose, and slide you right into the first beautiful woman you see. And I'm gonna make sure that it happens. Watch. And so I keep like rambling on, you know, in this like really dumb guy kind of like a tone, you know. I'm like, and another thing, you dress like shit. Here's what you gotta do. You gotta get yourself some real slick threads, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like draining threes, you know. While I was talking, I wasn't paying attention. He had gone, talked to a nerdy girl that he saw reading a book, and came back to me and was like, hey man, I got a date. I'm like, you what? He's like, I got a date. See that girl over there? She waves. He's like, yeah, I got a date with her next weekend. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. We gotta get you real prepared. All right, so let me ask you this. What's the first thing you know about sex? And he's like, well, I read in a book that if you have sex upside down, you will not get the girl pregnant. I'm like, everybody knows that. Man, I don't know. What are we going to do to make sure that you can work on your stroke in time for your date? And he's like, well, there's one thing. I've been working on this artificial intelligence. There's a robot down at the lab that we've been programming to do song and dance theater, musical theater. And I think I could reprogram it in a couple of hours to be a sex robot. I'm like, oh, that sounds like it's a good start. Let's go down. So we go down to the lab, and he shows me this robot. Absolute perfect 10. It's like a metallic chrome version of like a Farrah Fawcett body, classic Farrah Fawcett body, beautiful like flowing hair that's like electric and glows, just absolutely stunning, right? And I walk up to this robot, I'm like, you were telling me that this robot knows how to have sex? The robot's like, not only do I know how to have sex, I know how to make you come. I was like, what? Like, I know how to make you come. I'm like, double take. And she's also like, I'm also really well versed in sitcoms from the 90s, TGIF and Suddenly Susan, and that one with David Spade. I'm like, well, those are all my favorite shows. I love those shows. How do you know all this? She's like, I just know all those shows. And so I'm like, wow, this robot broad really knows what's up. She's like, I like to go down to the ballpark, wait out front of the ballpark, pick up ticket stubs from the ballpark, and then tell everybody that I saw the game the next day at work. I'm like, that's what I like to do too. She's like, oh, then I think we'll make a great pair. And I'm like, listen, buddy, I know you're a virgin, but I gotta take this robot out for a date and give her what's for. And he's like, all right, just make sure that she's back in time for my big date on this weekend. We go out, the robot and I go out dancing. We go get drinks. I take her for a long drive over to the coast. We're overlooking the ocean, the Pacific Ocean. Drive down to Big Sur. You couldn't ask for a more beautiful night. And we're just firing on all cylinders. Like, she's from the same town that I grew up in. We know a lot of the same people. Our parents they're not friends, but they know each other. So like forming a long-term relationship would be really easy with this robot. I fall like hook, line, and sinker all the way in. I'm completely in love, right? I make beautiful love with her. She makes beautiful love with me. She's programmed to do everything. She's really strong. So we do a 69 walk where we're 69ing and she's walking and carrying me. And we do an entire 6-mile hike up into the foothills and 69ing the whole time. And I come like 3 or 4 times. And so the sun rises and I'm on her back and she's like, she's a robot, so she's running back over to Silicon Valley, going like 60 miles an hour. Drops me off at home. I sleep like a baby. I go back to the lab the next day and I'm like, oh my God, sex robot, that was incredible. We had such a good time. And she's like, excuse me, do I know who you are? I'm like, sex robot, what are you talking about? We just had an amazing night together. She's like, sorry, does not compute. Do not know who you are. I'm like, what is happening? Yeah, it was so beautiful. I'm like breaking down. I'm just losing it. Like my whole just identity is just
not so
shattered.
Cool anymore.
Totally heartbroken.
Not so cool anymore.
Absolutely. Entire facade shot. And I'm lying on the ground, like begging, like, please, you gotta know who I am. You gotta listen to me. You gotta listen to me. And my friend walks back in. And he's like, well, wow. Look what we had. Look who is broken and alone. I'm like, what? And he's like, you made it your life's work to get me laid. I made it my life's work to break you. So I programmed this robot to be your exact love match, knowing that you would fall head over heels. And guess what? I just erased her hard drive. And I'm like, you fucking what? I'm like, yeah, that's right. And now I'm going to take her, and me and that girl that I met are going to have a 3-way, because I have had sex before, and I am not a virgin. And I'm on the ground, I'm like, come back, come back, come back. And they slam the door, and it's a glass door, and you just see me, just my mouth saying come back. It's like, I'm yelling, show me the squirt. Show me the squirt. Show me the squirt. Show me the fucking squirt. And that's the end of the fantasy.
That's really good.
I channeled In the Company of Men.
It's kind of hard not to.
Yeah. When you're talking about trying to get somebody laid and, competing for sex.
Oh, yeah.
Or just destroying someone. Yeah.
Do you think Neil LaBoots ever destroyed someone? He's got a couple movies about him.
No, I think he's been destroyed multiple times.
You think he thinks that happened to him a few times?
Yeah.
Conspires against him to humiliate him.
I think that's what he thinks happened. I think he's been destroyed multiple times, and then he made a couple of movies that were somewhat popular, and he got his groove back a little bit, and then he started making really shitty movies because he was no longer tortured.
Is he still making shit?
He made a TV show I couldn't finish watching about like 5 people that were mysteriously transported to an island or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
It was like Lost, but it was something else. That was cool. So she was beautiful. She had a body of Farrah Fawcett, and she had electrical hair, blue electrical hair.
Yeah, her hair could stop traffic. When she walked up to the club, it looked like the police were coming. That's how bright her hair was, red and blue.
Detail like.
I love that 6-mile hike through Big Sur where she's carrying you.
Yeah, when you picture being carried while 69ing, what position are your knees in? Like, are they straight up or are they?
I pictured Nathan, like, since she's a robot, she can just walk on her hands.
Oh.
So I pictured Nathan being like, Nathan's kind of the one showing her where to walk, but he's also eating her vagina at the same time.
That sounds great.
That's how I pictured it.
That sounds a lot easier. She's a robot.
Because I don't think you would last 6 miles upside down.
Oh, right.
I think all the blood would rush to your head, and you'd something bad would happen.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I pictured it being the upside down way, but now that you mention it, I think it would be very, very uncomfortable.
Well, maybe if her feet could probably turn into like fans to like cool you. Above, or like an umbrella if it's raining.
And she could also take really big leaps, like in Avatar, just like covering tons and tons of ground as we like bounded down. Like a 6-mile hike for a robot woman like that is nothing. You do that.
I mean, you could probably hug her hips and lift her legs up. She would do all the work, like walking.
Exactly. She's a robot designed for this kind of stuff. So I would imagine there's some kind of ergonomic thing where I would be extremely comfortable.
But she carried you home at 60 miles an hour.
Yeah.
While you're sleeping.
I read an article. Right. Yeah. And she very gently put me in the bed. And I was like, nah. What do you guys think about sex robots? Do you think we're only going to have sex with robots in the future?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I don't know if I'll be able to afford one, but if I can, I will.
I bet if the 3 of us saved right now, we could afford one. We could all throw in for one.
I mean, like a real fucking robot, not a sex toy.
Like a real living thing you can fuck.
Like a real fucking robot to fuck.
What would be cool about it is that if all 3 of us bought it, we can have it march to each one of our houses.
That's right. We could probably fly it out to each other. If it's, it's a robot, it's relatively smart.
It'd probably drive itself over to anyone's house.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be cool.
Up some wings.
Yeah.
On the way over.
Wait, yeah, that's just... sounds like a Black Mirror episode,
Yeah. Except it's 3 guys having a good time. 3 friends having a good time.
Yeah, there's no consequences.
With the same sex robot, yeah.
There's no consequences at all. We just enjoy it. It gives us food. It makes our lives slightly easier. Relieves stress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You could have it do like yard work too.
Yeah, a bunch of chores.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I would ask it. I would be like, so what is John like? What kind of stuff is John into?
Yeah.
I would have it tell me all the dirt about John.
What do you think John would do?
Think we're ready to wrap it up here?
Yeah.